like zoom from one to the, literally zooming from one to the next.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mess here. Usually I clean a bit more in between. Right. There are more people for this, but I don't know who they are, to be honest. Let me see on the list. It's like I don't know. And I gave a woman the wrong cookies, which is like things I never do. I never make this kind of errors.
I know.
And I was just like, I'm so sorry. And they all have these same names. So like all my orders are like Jenny and Jeannie and Jackie. And I just got so muddled up. I was like, oops, wrong person.
Did you say anything?
So she had ordered, I had two options available. She'd ordered one where it's like a do-it-yourself one, and then another one. But I had just written two on the invoice. I just written 2 custom cookies or whatever. And we discussed which cookies were going to be in the other one. And then she takes them and she's like, oh, where's the one, the do-it-yourself one? I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally got this wrong. Oh, wait, hang on. People are waiting. What's happening here? You. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. There's lots of people here. So then she was very sweet. She's like, oh, I'll come back tomorrow and get them. I'm like, thank you so much. Right, hello, 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 hello. 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 Right. Did I let everyone in? I feel like there was another one there. Oh, weird. What is happening? Participants. I know there were fewer people for this one. Let me just see who they are. Kate. Who's Kate? Do we have a Kate? We don't have a Kate yet. Right. Okay. I'm going to just start, I think. Melissa, hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So just so that everyone knows, I know some of you have literally just been in a class with me, so this will be a repeat situation, but just so everyone's on board, I'm going to video this and then I'm going to send you the link to the video probably on Monday. If you urgently need it, just let me know. And I've lost that train of thought completely. So it will video this section where my sound is. It videos the one that where the most talking is, the noises. So this is what you see. So if you are wanting to ask a question, just let me know. But I think otherwise, maybe just mute yourselves so that if you have background noise, I don't know. I don't think it really matters. I'm just trying to improve quality, you know. Right. Okay. So we're going to make these cutesy Christmas things. I'm very into this vibe at the moment. This kind of cutesy whatever. Right. How do I make that visible? Oh, okay. So for this, you need a few different colors. You don't have to do these colors. You can do anything you want, really. But you do, I think, need green for the tree, maybe yellow for the star, brown for the pudding, and some white for the pudding. But like the gift and whatever could be any color. It doesn't matter. Okay. So I sent that list of colors. I don't actually know what I made in the end. But I just wanted, so again, I'm just repeating this for anyone who didn't hear it before. Melissa, did you mix your CMC in? Yes. Yes. Okay. So I'm not going to show you how I do this. I'm just going to explain what to do. So for 250 grams of fondant, you will use 1 teaspoon of CMC, an actual measure teaspoon, please, and knead it in, and then wrap it up tight and leave it overnight so that you get, they're my ones that I wrapped up. Green. So you get something that's quite firmish, okay? And if you don't have the CMC in it, it will sag, it won't set hard. If you have too much CMC in it, it will become dry and crumbly. Okay, and also your leftovers won't be usable. As they are now, you can keep them, as long as they're wrapped up, you can keep them and use them for future projects. So if you've got leftover, okay. So we're going to start off with a tree, I think. So what we want is for this brown part at the bottom to be a little bit set before the tree itself goes on there, because if the tree is pushed, the tree is quite heavy. So if it's pushing down onto that brown part, you will have wrinkles and things in it. So just take your little piece of brown. I seem to have misplaced my other brown. What is happening here? Okay. So we're going to make basically the stem of the tree. Okay. I'm just going to do it onto the same piece of polystyrene. Sorry if the center is being distracting in the background. See, there you are, that's fine. Okay. So a toothpick. Does everyone have some kind of tree cutter? What's that on the list? I've lost, I'm sorry if I've told you, but if you don't have the tree cutter, don't stress, we can just cut it by hand.
Julie?
Yes.
I didn't get a dummy. Is there something that I could use as a dummy in the meantime? Do you have any suggestions?
You know what? I do have a suggestion. Just make it flat. Just make it flat. Because a tree is not a thing, it's a thing that can be flat. It's not that three-dimensional.
Okay.
And then once it's dry, you should be able to just lift it up again.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, you could use something like Oasis or anything that you can stick something into, but or even into a cardboard box maybe. But I would say just make it flat. In fact, I will do it with you. I'll also make a flat one, shall I? Okay. Right, so I'm going to use, this is my tree cutter that I have, that I used for this project, but you can use any tree, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be any specific shape. If you don't have a tree, just let me know. Okay, so I'm going to cut out, I'm going to use the bottom of my tree to make the bottom of my stem. There it is. But you could just roll a ball. I mean, it doesn't have to be this particular shape necessarily. And then I'm going to use my knife. So I've just got a sharp knife, non-serrated, and I'm going to cut off the top. So there's my tree stem. Perfect. I think we've got the same. Have we got the same? Snap. Okay, and then I'm going to push my toothpick through it. If you wanted to stick it in your polystyrene, you could do that now, but otherwise just leave it to lie flat on the surface. Let me just make sure you can see in here. There we go. Okay. And we just want that to dry a little bit. Because mine's now actually lying flat, it doesn't even really matter because it's not going to be pushing down. The weight's not pushing down. Right. Then you're going to get out your green. If you've got a lot of brown on your hands, just rinse or wash or wipe or something. It's a constant problem getting the color on your hands. I wash my hands a lot when I'm working. My best option for getting the color off is like a sunlight, not the dishwashing liquids, but the soap bar takes it off great. And it's not so harsh on your hands. Some of the other options are quite harsh. Okay, so I'm going to take my piece of green. You could just cut it out as it is, but I don't know if you can see here, you get this kind of weirdness on the side. Can you see it? I don't know. How do I get it in the light? Of the cut. So we're going to put the cling film over it, which is, let me just show you. It's just easier if I show you. So roll it out a little bit. Actually, maybe just knead it a little bit. You can see mine's dried a little bit from being in the cling film. Just work it a little bit. If you want to work in some Holsum, you can. So Holsum is just a white margarine. This is the one I have. It's called petal base. You can buy it from baking tin or whatever. It's just to stop things from sticking, and you just want something white. So you could use wooden spoon margarine. You can use Holsum. I think it's just the cheapest. Can't always get it though. I think people have, but it would be in the butter aisle of the supermarket. Okay, I'm going to roll it out a little bit. And this is quite a chunky thing. It's flat, but I want it to be 3-dimensional-ish. Okay, so just make sure that your cutter can fit on the piece that you've rolled out. Okay, and then lay your cling film over the top. Okay, I quite like this cling film method. I'll show you why. So when you cut it out, the cling film is going to go down the side and you get this kind of bubble bulging vibe. I'm actually not sure this was the cutter I used. Anyway. So can you see what's, oh, I haven't cut through it completely there. Can you see that the sides here are kind of tapered down? Can you see that? I haven't quite cut it through completely, so just neaten up your edges. It's a bit difficult sometimes with the cling film. Okay. Again, you don't have to do this. You could just cut it out as normal, but you just won't get this kind of bubble look that I think is quite sweet. Okay. And then you can cut away the stem of that because that's not needed. Now, you want to get it onto your toothpick carefully, please. You don't want the toothpick to come shooting out the one side. And it needs to go quite far in because I think it would be a good idea for that star even to have some toothpick in it. I can't go any further because otherwise there won't be anything sticking out this side. Okay, so where that join is there, I'm going to glue it. So this glue that I'm using is the Barco food glue, but like any of these things, you can use even just a bit of water, egg white. There's lots of ways of doing these things. You can make your own glue with a little bit of water and CMC and icing sugar. It doesn't keep as well. It tends to grow mold after a little while. Okay, so make sure they're stuck together nice and neatly. Because I used the cutter for the bottom, it should give me a nice join. They should be the same, you know, it should be a good fit. Okay, I'm just going to kind of accentuate it a little bit. Just where's all, there we go. You know, so this cutter is, I don't know, it seems a bit, it's the cutter I use, but you can just squash it a bit flatter if you feel like it's not wide enough. Just play with it a little bit. Okay. And then you're going to put some decorations on this tree. Okay, so this is up to you what you want to do. I have a few sprinkles, but you could do anything. You could just, if you don't have sprinkles handy, just roll out a few tiny little sausages to make vermicelli or whatever. Where did I have them down? The ones that I used was just like a mixed, no, it was something like this. It was like a mixed bag, and I just chose a few out and stuck them on. But you could do a different way of doing it. If you wanted to just draw some glue on there, like a tinsel kind of vibe, just make sure you got space for your face when you do this. And then just sprinkle some on. It depends how decorated you want it. As I say in the picture, I really just had a few, just had a couple. So I think I'm going to do the same again. I don't know. I'm too lazy to think of a new plan. So just, you can, if you have tweezers, it can be quite useful for placing these kind of small things. Just a little hint of glue and stick it on. I can't really remember how it was. Oh, not too much glue. You know, you could add the shiny ones, whatever. It doesn't really matter, whatever you feel like adding. I feel like it's a question of what can I catch here. Nope, that's not it. Try it again. Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that. I really have no energy for catching little sprinkles right now. Right, while we've got our green out, so if you look here on the top of the pudding and on the top of the gift, I made 2 little holly leaves. I'm going to make a few little holly leaves. I found them quite useful for sticking on things. So while I've got my green out, I'm going to just do that. So obviously you could use a cutter. So for instance, this is one that I made with the cutter, but again, I'm trying to make it that you can do this even if you don't have cutters. So these are kind of bubble ones. I don't really know. But just to, the reason I actually got this one here is just to show you the shape of a holly leaf. It's got these very scalloped sides. Okay, so make a little ball of green, squish it flat into like an oval shape like that. Okay, oopsie. And then using the back of your paintbrush or whatever, something like that, just push in to make those scallops. Can you see? So the one that I'm making here, it doesn't have as many scallops as this one, but considerably fewer. So just push it in. So you can see it's starting to form that kind of holly leaf shape. Whoopsie. Lay it flat. Let's get in that last area there. And then I'm going to take my toothpick to make a vein down the middle of it, which should squash it. So it's become up a bit now because I've been pushing inwards. So hopefully this will push it back to flat again. Okay, something along those lines. And don't worry too much. It's meant to be cutesy. It doesn't have to be a perfect shape. It can just, so just make a few of those while you're at it. Okay. Everything's sticking to me today. Yeah. Press down. There you go. I quite enjoy these kind of freehand things where you don't have to have the cutter because, you know, no matter how many cutters I have, and I have a lot of cutters, I never have the right one. I never ever have the right one I'm looking for, or the size, or the, you know. So it's quite cool actually to make things that don't require any special equipment. Somebody waiting. No idea. Okay. So I've kind of got it squashed down with my finger, and then I'm just going in all around like that. Which seems to be working quite well. And then a little vein. Okay. I'm going to make one more of those. Have you guys made at least 2 of those? Yes, good. Okay. Squash, squash, squash. Squash, squash, squash. And then just pop those aside somewhere to dry. Just going to move them to the back here. Try that business. Okay. Then we're going to do the, what are we going to do in the face? So this little face here, it's a very simple face, but this eye and this mouth, I actually don't know if you can see on the mouth. Oof, I don't know if you can see it. When you draw on or paint on, it's a bit easier if this thing is completely dry, because otherwise it sort of dents in, which is not what you want. So I'm going to I'm going to do all the faces kind of at the end. So I'm just leaving the face off for right now. I'm going to make the star next. Okay, so get out your yellow, or whatever star color you want. It doesn't have to be yellow. It can be, I don't think there's any right or wrong here. There's a cling film one. And again, hopefully you all have a star cutter, but if you don't have a star cutter, I'll show you what you can do. And I used, in this one, quite a large star. I think I might make a slightly smaller one. I think I used this one in the picture. I used this littler one, I think. It just seems a little bit more, I don't know. Let's see. See how it looks. Okay. Oopsie. So just roll it out slightly with your, oh, yeah, you can see, so little speckles from the color. Just look at it a bit. And for this, I used egg yellow. So there's two kinds of yellows that you can buy, like neon or whatever, and then this egg yellow, which is like some of the buttercup color. I'm very into it, very. But obviously you can use any yellow you like. Okay, put your cling film on and cut out your star. And I've rolled it thick again. It's thick. It's like 1/2 centimeter thick. And then cut with your cling film to get your star. I think I know why I used the big one. It gives you kind of this puffy star. So it's got a bit of a shape. If you don't have a star cutter, your option is to just roll a ball, squash it flat, and kind of like we did with the holly leaves, you just want to push in 5 corners. Okay, so if you can see that, it looks like a little flower now, and then just pinch out those tips. Okay, and then you've got your star. Okay, obviously it is just easier with the cutter, but if you don't have the cutter, you just shape it basically. Right. Okay. And then for this guy, he is also going to have the face, the eyes, the whatever, and the cheeks, which I'll come back to just now. I'm going to do all the faces together. Okay, so I think for now, I'm going to stick him on there so that he can, because this is still nice and soft, which means you get a bit of stick on there. So I'm just going to glue him onto the top of my tree. You can, sorry, so I'm getting distracted with my own things. The rule for gluing things together. So if you've got one thing that is hard and one thing that is soft, like these sprinkles, you can use glue. If you've got two things that are soft, like the star and the tree, which are still, neither of them are set yet, you can use glue. But if you're trying to stick two dry things together, you need to use royal icing. Glue is not going to do it. It's not going to hold it. You need to have something like royal icing to stick it together. Okay. So there we go. You can see how it's looking. Okay. So just set those aside to dry a little bit, and we'll come back to them in a second. Okay. I don't know what I did with my other bit of brown. Let's see if it's here. Huh. So I just, what's this brown? Maybe this is brown. Brown? It's like purple. No, it's back. So I thought I had more brown. I don't seem to have more brown. So I'm going to, I think, make quite a tiny little pudding. Okay. Actually, maybe I'll just add a bit of white to it just to bulk it up a little bit. Always at a medium tan color. Okay, let's just make a little bit more. So for the pudding, it's really just a ball, nice and easy. Sorry, there we go. I can see you all. Okay. Okay. So this is obviously, let's go back to the picture for a second. It's going to sit next to the tree. So you want to think about the size of this pudding. I think it's probably too big now. But it's up to you. It really doesn't matter. Also, if you have a different size tree cutter, you might have a different size sort of tree situation. No, it's too small. But you're probably looking at, I don't know, again, maybe a big marble. No, not huge. Okay. And you can just sort of plant him down on your surface so that you've got a flat bottom. Okay. Which will probably kind of happen anyway. Sorry, my color's not very well mixed in. I just want to mix it a bit more. That was because I added that extra white. But also you could add like raisins to your pudding. I mean, it's a Christmas pudding. I don't really know. Or figgy pudding, or I don't really know what everyone else is having for Christmas pudding. But you could add, you know, little dots for raisins and stuff if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave it like that. With the mouths, so I just want to show you, there were two ways. Can you see this? There we go. Two ways that I did these mouths. These ones I just painted them on. This one I used something to push in to give it that shape. I don't like the way it looks. I think it was one of the first things I did. But just to show you, this is the tool I had used. So you could just push it in to give it that smile. If you don't want to paint it on, I then went and painted over it, which I didn't like the way it looked. Or you could just leave it at that without painting it. Actually, let's just leave him like that. But you guys can just paint it on if you want. Then we're going to put the white icing on top of him. So take a bit of white. Just make sure your hands are clean before you touch your white, because otherwise you're going to make it whatever. This piece of white has now been sitting around, so it's a bit dried out. Just work your white, or whatever color, in general, your colors. Okay, and then you're going to roll it out. So it's going to, we want it to look kind of drippy. So just roll it out. I saw online a little paint splat cutter, which I thought was great. But I don't have a thing like that. You could probably use a big flower for this, but I'm just going to cut around in a kind of a paint splat drippy way. Okay. And don't get too concerned if it doesn't look like mine. Just make a squiggly line all around. Okay. Something like that. Oopsie. And you'll see when you've cut it, oops, and a hair, get out. Especially cutting with a knife on a flat thing like this, it sort of drags it a little bit. You get a bit of irregularities on the side. It never cuts as cleanly as a cookie cutter would. So you're going to want to go around with your fingers and just sort of neaten up those edges a little bit. Just tuck them in if there's something weird, or, you know, flatten them out. Just work them a little bit so they're nice and neat. Okay, so you can see that already looks better. Now, take it over to your pudding and try it on for size. Okay, so my size is fine. Have a look. I put the mouth in it now. If you haven't done your mouth, you can still choose your front. I like it to be quite drippy in the front. So I'm looking for my most defined edge, and my least defined edge is going on the back, but it's up to you. Just look and see how it looks. And make sure that there's space for your eyes and your mouth wherever your front is. Okay. You can just put a little bit of glue on it. I actually think that it's soft enough that if I just work it on, it will stick quite well. But if you're in doubt, just put, and again, use this glue sparingly, please. Just a tiny little bit of glue on there just to make it stick. Right, and then work it down. So let me just show you, this is the back here. So that's my sort of least drippy side. If I wanted to drip more, I'm just going to gently rub it down until it creates a bit of a drip. So you can really just make it do whatever you want. if there's a bit of a weird thing, just use the back of your brush to push it in. Okay. And if there's anywhere where there's like a straight corner where the knife went round and didn't, you know, just use your fingers to resolve that. Okay. And there he is. Actually, now I feel like the back is better. But anyway, you know, you live and learn. There's my little pud. Okay. Then I'm going to put sprinkles on the top again. It's effing sprinkles. And Haley, was it for you? I can't remember who it was for. No, it was one of the other ladies. I loaded the video onto YouTube and then was told that it's too adult and it needs a caution on it. I was wondering if I had been swearing in the video. Anyway, I'm trying to keep a lid on that. Anyway, hold on. Let me just find some other sprinkles. These ones are killing me. Okay, but again, if you wanted to just make yourself a couple of tiny sprinkles, hundreds and thousands, whatever you've got. I'm going to put a little bit of glue onto here. Okay, so I'm just kind of dotting the glue around because my brush. And then I'm going to just over the sprinkles, I'm just going to drop them on and hopefully they'll stick where the glue is. Okay, these are not very Christmassy, these sprinkles, but never mind. Again, just use what you've got. You could also just draw it on with an edible pen. It doesn't have to be sprinkles. It's just a little bit of like decoration on the top of the pudding. Okay. And they're going everywhere. Okay. I'm going to come back to this pudding in a minute to put the cheeks and the holly and whatever on it. Oopsie. But I'm going to carry on to the gift. So the gift here was made with the same pink that I used for the little cheeks, but I wasn't loving it. I was a bit over it. So I mixed some other colors. I've got blue. I don't really know. Yeah, let's make a blue gift. So you can just make whatever colors you have. And you don't have to only do one, you can do as many as you want, and actually you can add eyes onto anything. So you could do a gift, you could do an ornament, you could do whatever other items might be in a Christmas scenario. Okay, so for making squares, cubes, actually probably my least favorite thing to make. Roll yourself a nice smooth ball. You don't want cracks in it. And then if you have a smoother, use it. If you don't have a smoother, just use something flat. So this is just the lid of the sprinkles. Okay, so I'm pressing it down, turn it onto its side, press down again, turn it onto the other side, press down again. And you're going to do this a few times until you get as nice, neat edges as you would want. Actually, I'm not sure that this blue is a good color because you can't really see it on the blue background. I don't know. I never get them as neat as I think they should be. If anyone has any top tips, I'm all ears.
I use a sushi block.
Squishy thing. Yes. Where did you get it from?
Edgar's actually.
I've seen them online. I've never had one. I have a storage problem, so I try not to buy anything extra because my storage where I keep all these sorts of things are all full. Okay, so for me that's probably as good as I'm going to get it. Again, if you want these corners to be more sharp, you can just pinch it slightly with your fingers. I usually end up making a finger poke hole when I do this, but that will make them, if you can see that, make them a little bit sharper if you want. I think that's fine. I don't think it needs to be anything more than that. Right, because it's going to have the face on one side of this gift, I just put the ribbon around one direction. If it was going to just be a gift with no face, I would have probably put ribbon in 2 directions. And you can obviously choose any color for your ribbon. What have I got here? Maybe some of this tan that I had left over from earlier. Whatever, anything you like. Okay. So you're going to roll it out. And cut yourself a little strip that's going to go around there. You don't want it too wide. It's a ribbon, you know. Oopsie. But just make sure it's long enough to go all the way around. Again, you can glue it if you want. It's quite soft. I don't feel like I need to glue. It's going to stay stuck. So it's just a tiny bit short here. Just using your finger, just push it down. You want it to look like it's wrapping all the way around. You don't want it sort of ending just before the end. You can also kind of stretch it slightly when you're putting it on if you feel like you've just a bit short. There we go. And then we're going to do a bow on the top. So the bow, I did a very simple bow, but I'm going to show you how we're doing for time. We're good for time. I'm going to show you 2 options for the bow. Okay. I'm sorry about that noise. So the first option, you're going to cut a strip, and you would want your strip to be the same width as the ribbon so that it's continuous. Okay. So once you've got your strip, put it in front of you like that. This is very sticky. It's the same sticky one I used for that reindeer. Okay, so fold it, oopsie, into the middle. And then into the middle again, so that those 2 loops are more or less the same size. Push it down, push it together in the middle, and push these things up to sort of puff them a little bit. And then make yourself another strip that's going to go around the middle there. That strip I would make slightly narrower, just because it's easier to shape it that way. So that's going to go around there. Okay. So that's option number 1. That's not what I did though. What I did is I just made 2 loops on top of each other. I'll show you what I did. And again, there's no right or wrong, or, you know, just do whatever you think looks cute. It's really, so I just did a strip like this. And I made, oh, cut a bit skew here. Hang on. So I just made 1 little loop like that. Oh, stuck. Just get unstuck. Which are stuck on. Okay. And then another one on top, but facing in the same direction. So that was what I did, like that. Let me just hold it up for you to see. So 2 little loops sticking off in one direction, and then I stuck the holly and berry on the other side. So that's what I did in the picture, but you can do, as I say, whatever you like. It's fine. Okay. So I'm going to come back to those guys when I put their faces on. I think we're ready more or less to put faces on. I just want to make some little holly berries, but I'm going to use the pink. So for this last stage, you need a bit of pale pink. Okay, I'm bringing up all my little bits here. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so the pale pink, this looks very pale in the video. I actually tried to brighten up the colors so that you can see the contrast a bit better. But this is going to be the little cheeks of the people, faces, but it's also going to be the holly berries. Because, so I did this for a magazine or something, and then they were like their Christmas idea this year, and they sent me this like color palette thing. It was like pink and turquoise and whatever, which is why I chose those colors for it. But again, you don't have to do it like that. If you wanted to make them bright red, you could absolutely do that. So the berries are just really balls. So just make a few balls so you've got them ready with your holly when you need it. Okay. I don't know, probably 4 is enough. Okay. Right, and then we're ready to put our bases on. Are you guys ready? Should I take a moment? One moment. In fact, do you mind if I just quickly zoom to the ladies' room? You guys finish those off. I'll be back in 1 second. I probably shouldn't have had so many coffees. Right, how are we going? Good. Everyone on track? Anyone behind? Okay, I'm going on. Right, okay, so let's get to these faces. So just go back to the picture again. Sorry, I keep referring to it. I was basically just experimenting. I sort of vaguely mentioned this earlier in the other class, how the different faces have different expressions. So that was what I was actually doing. I had a whole bunch of other things as well with various different options. So I'm going to start with the tree because that's what we did first. And I found it difficult to get 2 eyes the same. I always do, actually. So that's why for the sort of centerpiece one, I just made a winky eye. But you're going to take your black. And again, there's lots of ways of doing this. You could cut it out with a small cutter, like something like a straw. But I just found it easier to just roll a small little ball and smush it flat. Okay. And then this you're going to stick on with a little bit of glue. Don't go crazy with the glue. And the glue, if you put glue somewhere and then you don't stick something over it, it will leave a little shiny mark. So just make sure that your glue is only where you want your thing to be stuck on. Okay. And then just look at it from the front and make sure that it's round. So if it's not quite round, just push it in. And obviously, because it's got the winking side, leave some space for that winking one. Okay. And then the cheeks are just 2 little round pink balls, and they slightly even overlap with the eyes. Okay. So this style of Japanese kawaii, whatever it's called, this is how they make the cheeks. I don't know. You don't have to do it like this. It's just how the pictures all were. So you take your 2 little pink balls, which are going to be your cheeks, squash them flat, and you're going to stick them on. I found it quite difficult to make it overlap with the eye with the squashing down method, but the rolling out method made my eyes not so cute. I don't know. So just see. If you feel like it's not doing a good job overlapping, then just put it slightly below, and that's fine. Okay. So it's basically just sort of there. Okay. Can you see that? Wait, let me just get this angle. Yes, that's good. Okay. And then the other one is here. So the mouth will be basically directly between these two cheeks, and then the other eye will be here. Okay. I'm going to come and paint those on in a minute. Let's carry on with the basic eye shapes. So for the star, obviously it also has, sorry, I'm sliding over here. Sorry, hang on. There we go. It also has two, just go to the picture so you see what I mean. Two open eyes. Okay. So two black circles. Because the star is quite a bit smaller, the eyes need to be equivalently smaller so they fit on there. So two little black circles, try and get them the same. It's not always that easy. I hate doing eyes in public because I'm always losing my eyes. There they are. Okay. I'm going to put a tiny dot of glue where the eyes are supposed to be. Come on. Oh, you see. Okay. So I don't know how clear that is, but they're not the same. They're not round. I'm going to use the end of my paintbrush just to squish them on and make them round. Okay. Again, I find some people's fine motor skills are better, and this is easier for them to stick on a squashed one. Sorry, this guy is not going to work. He's got a very strange shape. Just make it on. But the story is you want two the same. Okay, and it can be a little bit of a challenge. Okay, there we go. That's better. Now, if your eyes are too close together, they look squinty. If they're too far apart, they look half-witted. So just stick them on and pray. Okay, and then two little cheeks, also just overlapping with those eyes. These ones are also a bit smaller. That was the other reason I thought that the cutters was worse, because I didn't have a really wide range of small round cutters. I just have 3 different sizes. So it wasn't giving me the sizes that I wanted. So I felt like I had more control by just rolling them out. Okay, so again, overlapping with the eye. Okay. The cheeks don't seem to matter as much if they're not round. Somehow that's not such a problem. Okay, and then leave just a little space for your mouth between. Okay. Also on this little star, I had put a little bow, or a heart actually. I learned this at some class I went to. She called it the puffy bow. So this is a puffy bow. Take a little piece of pink, sort of chickpea size, dry chickpea size. Roll it into a ball, a nice neat ball. Okay, use your finger to press down in the middle. Okay, so you get this like bone shape. Can you see it? And then pinch it together. And there's your little heart, puffy heart. Okay. Again, not with the cutter, but you could just cut out a heart. It's a bit big. Let me just make a smaller one. Sorry. Okay, so ball, press down in the middle, and then pinch it. It's harder with a small one. There we go. Pinch it together. You can pinch this down to make a little. Okay. Right. Everyone with me? I mean, if you were really dedicated, you could put eyes on the bow. No, I'm not that dedicated. Okay. And then we just need eyes and cheeks and things for these other things. So this guy had the kind of laughing triangle eyes, which I don't know what that's called. Those eyes. But again, if you wanted to just put normal eyes, you can. I'm just going to go with this picture because that's kind of the general trend. I'm going to make some eyes with eyelashes for the gift. Okay, so this guy, he just needs the cheeks because he's having the triangle eyes. Okay, 2 little cheekies. Sorry, let me just zoom out a little bit. It's such tiny things, it's hard to really see. I think you've got the idea of what we're doing. Okay, tiny little hint of glue. So I've made a mistake here. There isn't going to be space for the eye with this. Can you see? So maybe he'll just have one eye. Let me see if I can move that out the way a little bit. Using all my sprinkles. Okay. This guy, he can have eyes and cheeks. Here's the eyes. Here's the eyes.
Julie?
Yes.
If the fondant is drying a bit too much while you're working with it, what can you use to soften it a bit?
Have you got Holsum?
Yes.
Just mix a little bit in.
Okay.
If you leave it unwrapped, it will dry out. If you,
yes.
So I don't know if you can, let me just show you what my whole area here looks like. The bits that I'm not using are all here in their wrappings. So, you know, by the end, you'll find, wait, let me just lift you up here, hold on. So if you see here, this is where, from the glass earlier, those are all the dried out bits that I decided could not be rehabilitated. So those I will probably just throw in the bin. But, you know, the sort of bulk of it, just if you can keep it wrapped in its cling film when you're not working with it, then it will slow down that drying process.
Okay, yeah, it's just the, like this pink, as we're working with all these little bits, it's like just drying
little
from...
bits, that's why I actually hate these little bits. So you can see this piece is out. It's become a bit dry on the surface. It's not such inside. Then you just take a little bit of your Holsum and just work it in. And actually just working it sometimes is enough.
Oh, okay. Okay,
and that's why I like with whatever I'm working with, I'll just keep a small quantity out. And then like my black, you can see I was lazy. I didn't wrap it up properly. Okie dokie. Let me squish these two down. Okay, I'm getting quite bored of eyes. How are you guys doing? Are you also bored of eyes? Oopsie. Oh, la, la, I just dropped that cheek on the floor. Okay, 2 cheeks. Come on. This thing creaks. Okay. Right, okay. Is there anyone who doesn't have an edible pen? You don't. Okay, in which case I'm going to paint with the toothpick so you can see how to do it. If you have the pen, so just let me show you. The pen looks like this. You get different brands. It's just got like food coloring. You just paint with the pen. But I'm going to do it with the paint then because, okay, so this is just black food coloring. And I'm opening it right up so I can stick my toothpick in there. And if you have a very small brush, you can do this with a brush. All my brushes, when I say a very small brush, I mean, I don't actually have my very small one here. I mean very small. So unless you have like I mean, this is too big. This is too fat. Okay, we're talking like 2 hairs or whatever. So if you don't have a tiny, 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 tiny brush, just use a toothpick. I think that's probably the easiest option. Okay, so we're going to start off. Oh, this is kind of gloopy at the top here. Hold on. Let me just show you here. So at the top here, it's quite gloopy. I don't know if you can see that. I might just mix a little bit in here with some water or something. Hang on. I normally just use it straight out of here, but this one is really gloopy. It's obviously dried up here at the top. Do I have water? Some water in here. No. Okay, so this is, I'm going to just mix it. This is quick paint. And I'm just mixing it. Just I just want to thin it out slightly. Okay. There we go. That looks better. The reason is, so it's so gloopy that if I try to paint with it, it's just going to make a big blob, which we don't want. Actually, I'm just going to take a new toothpick because that one is very blobby. Okay. Okay, so first toothpick, slightly runnier. There we go. That looks better. Okay. And again, we're talking like tiny, 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 tiny details here. If you're doing this with a toothpick, you might want to wait for it to fully dry again. Hang on, I just want to mix slightly more so I can dip it a bit deeper. There we go. There we go. Hopefully it's dark enough. Should I take a bit more color? Okay. And I'm going to paint on, so I'm doing eyelashes on this guy because he just happens to be here. Okay. And that's the one I did with the pen. In some ways, maybe you have more control with the toothpick. I'm not too sure. Okay. For this guy, we are going to have the aforementioned triangle eyes. So when you're using the toothpick, let me just show you on a test piece. So if you try to push forward, you're going to get that. Okay, so when you use the toothpick, you want to be always pulling it back like that. Right, so you might need to turn your item so that you can do that. His hair's in the way. Okay, so one stripe, and then I'm turning it around so I can drag it away in this direction. One stripe, one stripe. Okay. I don't know if you saw there, but it just pulled slightly on the surface. I don't know, he's a bit of a strange one, that guy, which can sometimes drag on the surface. So if you have the time, leave it to set fully, because then you won't get any dragging on the surface. Okay, back to this guy. So, oh, I didn't put any mouths on any of them. Hang on. Sorry, let's just put a mouth on him. And again, you can do any shape mouths you want. If you just want a little sort of smiley mouth, or you can do, if it was singing a Christmas carol, you do a circle. If it was sad, downturned, grumpy, would be like a squiggly line. Again, just go and look on like a kid's expression page. They always have these little expressions. Okay, so I'm just putting smiley mouths. It's Christmas. We're all happy. Okay. And the pens, sometimes, so the edible pens, I find the tips are not always as fine as I would like them to be. This one here, this is made by Hear Me. I found this one the best one. And it's refillable, which is also great. So you just dip it back in the color and it's reusable. Right, okay, so we've got mouths. I'm going to put the wink on here. So the wink is just like upwards. Come on. So it goes up and then down and then a little eyelash to stick out the side. Okay. And if it was sleeping eyes, they would be like little smiles. Okay, everyone with me? Okay, I think everything's got some face on it now. And then the very last thing we're going to do is to put this white on the eyes. Okay, so the white on the eyes is meant to represent a reflection in the eye. So it's not the eyeball or anything. It's meant to be the light shining off the eye. For this, you're going to use your white gel. I don't know why they call it gel, because it's really not a gel. The white is like more like a paste. Shake it well before you start, because it kind of settles at the bottom. If you don't have the white gel, but you do have white powder, you can just make a little tiny paint with it, just with a little bit of water. Okay. And for this, I'm going to use the back of my toothpick. So the toothpicks that I have here, we could actually use the front, it doesn't really matter. Have this like flat back. Actually, no, just use the front. It's fine. You can always just do it twice. Dip it in, and you're going to put your small dot and then a bigger dot somewhere else. So if you were to look at a photograph of 3 people standing looking at the camera, hello, sorry, and the light was coming from one place. So let's say the light is coming from the top left or something. All the people in the picture would have the reflection in the same place on their eye. So if you have them all standing together on the same cake, so if I've done you know, this pattern here, all of them must have the same pattern. Okay, I don't know, I think that's probably getting into the really nitpicky sort of level, but that's the idea. Okay, so top left, and I've got a bigger one and I don't know if you can see me, just zooming out. A bigger one and a slightly smaller one below. Wasn't what I actually originally intended, but it's working, so let's go with it. Okay. And I find over time, so once you leave them to dry and set and stuff, sometimes the white fades a bit from the black underneath. So you can do these and then maybe just touch them up before you send your cakes out, if you find that they're not quite as bright white as they had been when you started. Right, and then I think our last touch here is to put the holly leaves and berries that we made. Wait a minute, cooking there. So let's just move the tree out the way. These two have the holly. I don't know, you can do 1 leaf or 2 leaves. So I've got black coloring. Let me just wipe my hands. Up to you how you want to do them. They're just a last little decoration item. Where's the glue? Where's the glue? Where's the glue? I've lost the glue. Here's the glue. Okay. So on my pudding here, I would quite like them to be kind of sticking up, almost like a bow. I don't know, in my mind, something, oopsie. And they're still soft enough to stick. If you left them to fully dry, then you might want to, as I say, just use royal icing to stick them on. There we go. And 1 little berry on the front there. I think he's probably done. Okay. And then this guy, maybe just 1 holly and a berry. And my takeaway for this class is that you can make anything cute by putting a face on it, and you can make anything Christmas by putting a holly leaf and berry on it. I might do a little berry the front here just to cover up that little join there. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to put it onto my polystyrene just so you can see, so we can get the end result. But because it's kind of flattish, you could just leave it to dry flat like this. It's actually fine. Just so you can see. Okay. So I don't want to push from the top onto this toothpick because I think it's going to peek out the top. So I'm just using my pliers, push it in there. And then there's my little side jobbies. Okay. And again, you can add whatever decorations you want. If you wanted to put more like sprinkles onto this tree, he looks a little bit bare actually. I feel like I do want to put a few more sprinkles. I'm just hating my sprinkles. What else have I got? Here's some snowflakes. It's glue. Plus the glue again. Does anyone have any questions? No. I will edit this video a little bit. Maybe take out the swear words if there were any. I don't know what YouTube thought I was doing. I never thought I'd be censored by YouTube, but anyway, here we go. That looks a bit better. And I will send you the link to that. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to send me your questions to my WhatsApp. Or, I mean, you can email me as well if that's easier for you. And oh, look at him. Hold him up again, Melissa. Oh, so cute. Like little sweet horns on there. I think it's very cute. Thank you all. Oh, and send me pictures of what you've made, because I love to see what you've made. Very nice. You see, look, just look at Chanel's eyelashes on that yellow gift. Quite happy eyelashes. So you can really go with it, you know, just go there. I feel like I'm messing up the eyes, so I'm always scared to do eyelashes, but those looks adorable. Cool. Okay. Have a wonderful Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you guys soon. Well, actually, I say that, but hopefully I'll see you.
Judy, I was wondering if the course you did this morning would be available online.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'll send you all the details. In fact, I'm making a note of it right now. Yes, again, it might take a day or two. I just need to sort of load it and whatever.
That's fine.
Listen.
Thanks so much.
Sure, no problem. Santa. She wants the Santa. There we go. Cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
Cool. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
No, that didn't work. What's happening here?